Hello, my name's John, I drink things on the internet, and today we're going down another slightly niche rabbit hole. This is a little bottle of Calvados. We're going to be trying it, we're going to be talking a little bit about what Calvados is as well, because I thought it's one of those spirits that doesn't get much attention. It's one that not a lot of people know about. I didn't know a lot about it. I actually had to do a bit of reading before doing this video. I'm not going to get too bogged down in sort of the mythos and the details. It's more about what's in this little bottle here. But we're going to go a little bit into the production because there's a lot of things which I've learned. It's quite interesting. This particular one that I've got in front of me here is a Roger Groult Reserve Calvados. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Pays D Auge. Not sure. It's not right, is it? But that was quite fascinating. One of the things I didn't know is that there is a minimum aging period for this spirit as well. It has to be aged a minimum of 2 years. Can be aged longer. And also, in order to be called Calvados, it has to be made in the Normandy region of France. And there's sort of sub-regions, similar to how the Sherry Triangle works in some respects. And there's some very, very strict rules about how it can be made and the specific types of apples and pears that can be used, and the specific processes. In some cases, particular flavour profiles are very restrictively controlled. So the rules on this are much stricter than something like, say, whisky, for example. Whisky, you can get away with, a fair few shenanigans. You can water it down, you can chuck colouring in it, they just opened up a whole new barrage of things, like you can mature it in cider casks and all that kind of thing. You wouldn't get that with Calvados. They're much more stern about these things, which I found interesting. Something which I thought might be of interest for people going into the summer months is if you are a cider drinker. This is a bottle of Orchid View apple cider. This was pushed into my hand. I'm not even sure if it's still in date. I should probably review this fairly soon, shouldn't I? I wasn't going to, but I mean, I've got it, so may as well, I suppose. If you're a cider drinker traditionally and you're sort of looking to move into spirits but you've not really found anything yet that is of interest to you, Calvados is quite strictly controlled, so it has to be of a particular quality, similar to cognac in that respect. So let's get this in the glass and give it a go. Pale straw gold colour. It's very attractive as a colour, actually. Wow. You'd be unsurprised to hear that there is a brilliant bouquet of apple on that. It's bright, crisp. It's like you're walking through an orchard. I don't know if you've ever walked through an apple orchard. I did once and it was a surreal experience. There's a fair bit of oak coming through in that as well, and that's, down to the fact that it is aged in wood as well. It has to be aged in oak barrels, so you kind of expect that kind of a note to come through. Something a little bit like the finest play-doh money can buy. There is something a little bit, I don't know, slightly plasticky, very soft plastic. I'm not quite sure if I'm making sense there, but there is something of my childhood, like toys, of that. It's not unpleasant as an aroma, I have to say that much, but it's there. There is definitely a sweetness to it, but it's not the kind of saccharine sweetness that you might be used to from, say, a heavily overloaded fruit cider or something like that. It's a very natural, blossomy kind of a sweetness. It's quite floral. It just reminded me of like Red Delicious. That's the flavour I'm getting. Why that specific apple? I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's just because it's one of my favourite apples. There's something a little bit vanilla-y about it, but it just has this incredible intact apple flavour. You know when you taste like artificial apple and you're just like, yep, that's fake apple. I'm going to drink it, but it's fake apple. This is not fake apple. And you don't quite realise that you've drank much less natural apple products in your life until you actually do, and then you're like, I've wasted my life. As we normally do with these kinds of spirits, I'm going to add a little bit of water to kind of see if it opens up. I don't really know what adding water does to Calvados, because like I said, this is a voyage of discovery for both of us. I've got my little, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a quaich, because that's completely wrong, but okay, that's, might have overdone it, might have underdone it. And we can always add, but we cannot take away. Okay, so on the nose with a bit of water. It's just an explosion of apple now. It's like it's released the genie from the bottle. Something a little bit acetic about it as well. Sort of like a faint, like It's like a faint undistilled vinegar kind of a smell, but extremely faint. There's something like cherry blossoms in that as well, like something fairly pollenous. Pollenous? That's not a word. A little bit of very good quality honey in there as well on the nose. To drink, it just goes a little bit milder. It takes you on a bit more of an adventure. It's a bit more of kind of like apple baked good, like an apple turnover or an apple pie, that kind of an effect, rather than it being quite so spirit-led as it was before. It's just milder. One thing I would say, actually, that has shown me is that this is not a mixing spirit. You don't want to put anything with this other than maybe have it on ice or have a drop of water with it, because it's already kind of disappearing, like fading into the background. There's just enough in there that you can, it helps it sort of mellow out and become a bit more inviting, but there are hints of it kind of fading into the background. If you were to put this into like lemonade or something like that, it would just get lost. You don't want to do that. I don't think you'd want to either. The lingering flavour on this is just brilliant, crisp apples. I'm not very up on my apple varieties. I eat apples, but Cox is one, isn't it? That's a funny apple name. Pink Lady, that's another. I mean, what more do you need from me? Okay, so that's Calvados that we've kind of touched on briefly. One thing that this has done is it has kind of inspired me to look a little more deeply into the world of Calvados, because I didn't realise there was quite so many processes involved. And I feel like it's a spirit that I've definitely neglected. And I'm happy with the one that I've got here, and who knows? There might be some more Calvados in the future. That'd really bring in them views, wouldn't it? Thank you very much for watching. Thumb this video if you enjoyed it, and let me know down below. Have you guys tried any Calvados or any apple or pear brandies? What did you think of them? Did you enjoy them? Do you agree with me that artificial apple flavouring is bloody awful? Let me know. If you're new here, please do subscribe to the channel as well, because I pull these kind of shenanigans fairly frequently. And please do join me next time, where I'll be drinking something else.